Our journey to completing and recreating every single historical battle in the Napoleonic Wars continues as we are back in 1809 with another historical battle for you here today, as these French infantry are absolutely pummeled by artillery, being knocked back there. The banner carrier lucky to stay alive there, holding the tricolor, well actually not even the tricolor, the imperial banner high. I guess we aren't showing off the tricolor here today, but yes, we have the Battle of Abensberg, which is 1809. Napoleon and Lannes are leading the way as marshals and emperor of France. And joining them in today's game is also Van Damme with the army of Wittenberg. He's a French commander in charge of the forces of Wittenberg, given control of them. Wittenberg, a reasonably pretty useful army, that's for sure. We've actually got lands with some cuirass here in the forest. Well, actually a lot of cuirass, I would say. Yeah, 2 units of it, and then we've got some more Jaeger cavalry. So that's certainly going to be exciting to see that in play. Over on the other side as well, we do have a another German minor state in play, and that is Bavaria under the command of Lefebvre. I always butcher that name, and someone always tells me I get it wrong. But yeah, Bavaria, a really strong faction in its own way, I feel like. I think it's just a lot of mass is kind of what it's quite useful. It can shoot pretty well. You just kind of need to bring like an Inspire or two, and these guys can hold for a pretty long time. Cav, it's kind of lacking in. But yeah, I think for a minor nation, quite a strong and quite a fun faction to play. I often like playing the Bavarians. I quite like their salmon pink and blue combos got going on. But yeah, I go for minor factions. It's one of the stronger ones around, that's sure. The artillery ball flies by there. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was just right over the heads of these skirmishers. Voltigeurs here trying to pester the artillery crew of the Austrians there. Obviously, it's 1809, so yeah, there's not many people the French are fighting at this point, but yeah, it is the Austrians. We have commanders in history with Archduke Charles, Hiller, Archduke Louis, who doesn't have a corps in history, and Cayenne Meyer, which I don't know if they've actually got him here today as well, because I know he's quite a low point. This battle, in case of losses, at least what's recorded, the French supposedly lose about 1,000 troops. And the Austrians lose about 7,000 themselves. And this is a battle that there's 50,000 Imperial troops at, and over 40,000 Austrians at. So quite low numbers lost, really, for the size of the scale of the battle. That's for sure. But yeah, I presume that there's a fair few Hiller corps being used in today's game to sort of balance this up. I don't know what the Austrian corps are, unfortunately. Fog of War doesn't tell you what you're looking at for the Austrians or your opponents, but yeah, I imagine Hiller is here at least once, if not twice, because it's a pretty strong and high point core, that's for sure, for the Austrians. As again, yeah, that gun is in real danger. The horse artillery is in real danger of being killed there, and then you can see the cuirassiers have been revealed. They are getting ready. We are here on the map of Montereau, which is an 1814 map, but I'm guessing the guys that created this scenario decided this one kind of replicates Abensberg pretty well. This kind of goes on at the similar sort of time to the Battle of Tugendhausen, which we also have done as well in 1809. So that's been fought by Davout at a similar time to this. At this point in history, like in this year, there's a lot of battles happening in a very small amount of time, to be honest. A bit like in 1814, funnily enough. But yes, the battle itself was a victory for the French, as most battles were in 1809. Napoleon kind of I'd say, you could argue the peak of his sort of powers and army, and also just a sort of imperial sort of state. I'd say 1805, 1806, best sort of army, the Grand Armies, it's the least, most well trained, but this is just sheer scale. He has just so many troops. And in fact, the Austrians are going in first. They're the first to charge in, and they're going after the Laguerre here. The cuirassiers have been behind. I don't think they meant to engage. I think they just were kind of just moving up with the Laguerre. But yeah, the Laguerre here might actually rout those Trilliers and Poe. And we got more Laguerre here, provisional Laguerre, all set up as they go in. But yes, that Battle of Abensberg, basically just a push across a river, which I don't think we have seen a river. And then they challenge the Austrians in combat, and at the same sort of time, yeah, like I said, Tugendhausen's taking place. But yeah, here go the cuirassiers going in. Definitely was a fair gap for them to go through, and they have found a gap in the line. There you go, straight through the line there, breaking those units. We've got, I think this is a grenadier unit here, Hungarians. They're going to form a square, but that's fine because the French will go the other direction. And look at that amazing start there for the French, getting rid of, what, 4 or 5 Austrian units potentially. It looks like they're going to go straight into the cavalry behind as well, which is trying to set up, but it's definitely not going to get a charge off. We've got Lancers here and Chevaliers all set up. The heavy cav continues. They can get backed up by infantry here. That would be great. We've got the Austrians going in once again. Again, slamming into the Trilliers of Po here, trying to do some damage to those Hussars going in there. Another commander for the Austrians that was at this battle but doesn't seem to be credited with a corps, or at least as main commander, is Bianchi, who goes on to sort of defeat the Neapolitans in 1815. He becomes kind of a major thing. Oh, a lot of fibbing going on there by the Austrians. And I think that might finish the heavy cav here. It's going to take at least some of the cavalry with them. Yeah, there you go. The French cuirassier is gone. I doubt they'll return as well. Less than 50 of them left. Finally, I was going to say, Van Damme moves forward with the Abensberg troops there. Looks like as well we've got a grenadier unit there routing the Austrian variant of grenadiers. And actually, yeah, I think as cav and infantry got out of there, if they could get a charge off here or get a volley off, they could rout most of that as well and get rid of that. And the Austrians are just going to carry on in anyway. They're going to be tired and exhausted though fighting the French. So imagine the Abensberg infantry here should have no problem dealing with them. And there you go. Got rid of them. They routed well and truly. The rest of the way along the line, nothing much going on at the moment. I imagine the objective that they have to take is Abensberg, which is this town back here. So I imagine they're going to take these. Right now, it looks like Bavaria is in a bit of a sticky bit of a position. Looks like he's going up against a much stronger Austrian army, and he's getting hit by Hussars here as those infantry. I don't think these guys can form square. That's the problem with Bavaria. A lot of guys can't form square. And we're going to see Bavaria go in with the Chevaliers here, the Crown Prince Chevaliers going in. They're going to get dealt with here by, I think, Chevaliers or Dragoons of the Austrians. And they should easily be dealt with there. One of the commanders for the Bavarians, kind of like the main man, is a chap called, I think it's Ried, W-R-E-D-E, Ried. I think he goes on to sort of like betray, be the commander of the Bavarians once the Bavarians betray the French in 1814 as well, or 1813 to be precise. Yeah, right now the French pushing on ahead. They are dealing with these Austrians fairly well. This looks like a bit of a failed cavalry charge here. It looks like guns have been abandoned as well as the French keep pushing on here. It's very nice. Land doing the job there. Land sort of, at the moment, looks like he's kind of splitting his forces, going partly towards supporting the Bavarians, which are having a real bad time, as you can see here. We've got multiple units routing for them. It looks like, yeah, light infantry, and this is the cavalry. No, that's line infantry going as well. This is, actually, this is all, I thought this was routing Bavarian cavalry. This is all advancing Austrian cavalry. And yeah, look at this. The Bavarians are getting slapped about as, yeah, more and more of their infantry routes. So they need to get some squares up here if they have any. They do, but they're right on the edge. And the Austrians are going to just keep picking apart these poor Bavarians. I certainly always feel like the Bavarians, like, they act well when they're supported by French armies, which I guess the spawns are how they set up. Is this kind of historical, sort of like where the corps were at least laid out. But yeah, the Bavarians, without any French cavalry, and there isn't like there's any coming over anytime soon. There's like a chasseur cheval walking, but I don't know if it's really in the direction of the Bavarians. I think they have, what, like one cav, or they got another one here now actually acting, a dragoon. That's a very good dragoon as well. But yeah, that needs to get over. That needs to really dash, to be honest. It's not dashing, it's walking. Bavarians are sort of holding a little bit. They are firing to the flanks of these Austrians here. But the cav is what the problem is. Cav is doing so much damage. The light infantry here reforming up. They're probably going to get routed once again here, I imagine. Or maybe not, but yeah, good shots here from the line infantry. I mean, they could just shoot once and then charge if they needed to, but there you go. Job sorted. And now they could try and get this unit out of, well, it's routed already. I was going to say just form up again and just blast into the flank of the cavalry here. But yeah, Bavaria, I would say, pretty badly mauled there. And they're still coming on the Austrians, and they're really focusing on this square, which I don't blame them. The square is just staying in square as well, with the cav just shifting around, so they know to avoid it. And instead they're just going to blast it with infantry, I imagine, in a moment here. Bit of unit crossing to be careful there. Yeah, it looks like the Austrian players sort of sorting that out over there. Back over on this flank here, massive push, as you can see. Looks like we have both a joint infantry push from Abensberg and also from the French here. They're pushing on. Heavy cabs still going in here. Cuirassiers, they're going in. It looks like they're going to try and go after a general here. We've got a square forming up. They're going to try and save the general and stop the cuirass. Or maybe not. I thought they were forming square. They didn't. They just went into line. The French still continuing over here. Impressive push this is by lands as well. Guess we don't have the guard here, even though Napoleon is present. I'm guessing we just didn't bother with the guard imperial army, instead just brought two more, an extra lands. Yeah, there you go. Grenadiers routing. It looks like the Austrians are in this forest here, getting just dealt with. Heavy cav over here after being forced back by Grenadiers. It's now we're just retreating. Now we've got Abensberg troops in there. I doubt they're going to beat the Austrians, but I could be wrong. They might do with all these routing Austrians going through them. It's always a possibility. And we've got Laguerre as well coming into the back lines of those Austrians. So yeah, they could be in danger. I think the general got out of there alive. I haven't seen any notification he's died. I can't see him either on the battlefield. But that's a great start there for the French and for the Abensberg forces here. Though it does look like Abensberg is kind of getting forced back here a little bit. And Austria is starting to go into the flank over here. So they need to be concerned about this a little bit to the French. Because yeah, the Austrians are flanking on around. And they've got nothing really to protect this. The French and the Abensberg forces have dived in deep here. Going into the town. You now have to start thinking about turning and facing, preparing for this new line of infantry here that is preparing to face against them. And over on this side here, I mean, we're going to come back to this quickly. It is not looking good. It doesn't look like Bavaria at all has had this, his army rectified here. He now's got the chasseurs arriving. They're going to go in. More cavalry going in. This looks like a very good dragoon here. Their white horses again slamming into the non-squareables. There is this one's squareables, but it's the Koenig. Good infantry unit as well. Not forming square. Really should have. That might have at least repulsed these dragoons a little bit. You never know. I think we've got, yeah, Austrian infantry in here as well. I mean, they're not great in melee, but, you know, with the amount of routing Bavarian infantry and the cav support, they're actually having a decent chance. There you go, the chasseurs that were sent over here to support. They've gone. And yeah, this is looking like a complete capitulation here for the Bavarian player, who's really, I mean, look at this, the micro that's going on. There's no micro. He's just standing here. Got a volley off there. He now goes into melee. This is certainly not how it was supposed to go as planned. You know, like I said, in history, the French and their German allies do win in history, but maybe history is going to be recreated a little bit here. We will see. And then this looks like a Cayenne Meyer corps if I've ever seen one. Lots of militia coming forward here. He's like a 4-point, but he can spam out those militia. And as we've seen in previous battles, militia can be very, very effective, just absorbing volleys while you know, you have better troops elsewhere, maybe, you know, flanking around or going in for side charges, or just, you know, absorbing the hits so your better infantry is shielded as it marches forward behind. Yeah, I don't know what Bavaria's doing here. He's just not micro. He's just kind of accepted. He's almost AFK by the looks of it. His general is trying to get out of it. Yeah, I wouldn't say a great play here from Bavaria. Advanced forward, kind of unassisted, honestly. And he might have had the objective to do this, yes. Should have possibly just stayed behind his river line. Just waited there, wait for the Austrians to come and try and duel him out. And then wait to see where the land's going to come over to support. Because Lands right now is arriving. But he's having to fall back because it's a lost cause he's marching towards. Really is. I mean, the Austrians will take, you know, routing quite a bit themselves, but they could count this as a pretty reasonable win, I would say. Back over on this side, looks like Austria going in once again. Austria sending in cavalry going straight down the middle, taking out some voltigeurs. Like I said, the French having to turn to face off against this new Austrian threat that's arriving. Hussars there dealing with a artillery piece. Looks like it's probably going to go there. Maybe not. Well, it might go now because the Jaeger cavalry here for the Abensberg troops can charge their own guns. But no, they're okay. They're holding. They're holding for now. This, I feel like, is sort of the area in which you want to try and force back the Austrians. Try and force them back through the forest where they'll be slow moving. You'll be able to catch them in the forest, get some stuff done. It looks like they have got no cav support here either, which the French and the Abensberg forces can, you know, offer to their own side. The heavy cav is still very much alive as well. 70 men left. The Royal Cravats looks like they're getting ready for a push. Actually, they are active, so yeah, pretty reasonably healthy. Go for this musketeer here and then go down the sort of lines. And yeah, here they go in for the skirmishers, going into these Schutzen, and then they can sort of go down the line. But actually, they rout immediately. Look at that. That is not good at all. And that is not the result that the French and the Abensberg forces are probably expecting here. Looks like the town as well is sort of doing little small forays, I'd say, into the town as lands. His grenadiers going in here. They failed. Another one is still alive. Needs to back this up with more infantry, though. We've got the Trilliers of Poe, which is a 202-man unit. I just realized, jeez. Big old unit there. Yeah, they got lots of Laguerre moving forward to the French. They need to get those sort of supporting in here. Looks like the Grenadiers are winning slightly. They're redlining those Austrians. Looks like the Jaeger cav over here as well also tried to go for a charge. Doesn't look like they made anything really too successful themselves. Throwing away their cav a little bit are the Imperials. And they need to hold on to it because, yeah, Austria has cavalry of its own. As if on schedule just appears. Here, there's Ulan. And they've got another one back there as well. And more arriving or re-rallying. Kind of like I said, Austria's strength is its cavalry. It's certainly not melee. But they have won more than I expected today. And there you go, Grenadiers. Having won that one there. Kind of full back. So, I mean, if they can sort of threaten the street here, they can almost undo this entire line. And there's the general gone. And that is... Oh, it's Lan over here. I think he's just died. I think he just got shot by a random bullet, a stray bullet, something like that. Being close to the front line, this is a risk. But I think, yeah, he's been shot by enemy infantry. I think that's what all it is. I mean, there's more. And Van Damme here as well also is kind of just getting chipped away slowly and surely by the Austrian infantry. They need to be careful of that. I'm honestly surprised that the Bavarian one's not gone. I mean, Bavaria is fully gone now. He's getting farmed down a little bit, to be honest. He's the dismounted bodyguards. The Favre routing, he's, yeah, 13 out of 16. He's routing somewhere in there. But yeah, this Austrian force over here is still reasonably healthy. A lot of it will probably return as well because they're big-ish units, those infantry units. Cavalry is still in a good state. They've still got a very good cav unit here as well, which I think is a dragoon. The French, though, are kind of like partly in control of Abensberg, sorry. They're kind of in control of it partly. Not fully. I mean, I think that's part of the reason why Lan has retreated. Because he's like, well, I don't need to actually push. Save Bavaria. Just kind of hold what he is. Holding. Only problem is this fight over here looks like a bit of a losing fight right now for the French. They are getting, yeah, actually, they're getting fully destroyed here. Look at that. All those Trilliers of Poe. And all the light infantry there are gone. The Austrians actually are shooting at pretty much nothing in front of them. There is some more light infantry here. The Cousins of the Emperor solid unit. We've got some provisional Laguerre there, but yeah, they're pretty much that whole line now of Austrians has just kind of won their line fight, and they're going to be able to advance. And that is not good at all for the French, who now all of a sudden, after a really great start, are not looking so hot. That's for sure. And there you go. I think that is. Finally, the Bavarians there just getting their general farmed to death. Not a good game for the Bavarian player, I would say. He's yeah, could have done better. I think there's cav in behind or something here. Yeah, there's something in behind. I would say re-rallied Jaeger cav. Quickly dealt with by the Chevaliers of the Austrians. But there you go. And I think also they turned infantry around as well, just to make sure. But yeah, France now on the retreat. There is one land player that's in a pretty healthy position. And he's in the town himself here. Trilliers of Poe, still looking, yeah, like I said, very healthy. Whether they could go into melee, I don't know. Well, quite a few of the Laguerre are pretty strong in melee. This is sort of like the, also 1809, this is when Napoleon starts, you know, doing the provisional infantry malarkey. He starts calling upon, yeah, just like conscripts instead of like more professional units to serve in his army, so he goes for mass rather than quality. Could argue loses a bit of his edge with these armies. But yeah, right now Austria looking like they're going to be changing history right now. France is going to need to sort of somehow turn its fortunes around France, marked on the mini-map here, I've enlarged, are in the red. France and their Abensberg allies, while Austria are in the blue, just so you're not confused. But yeah, Austria kind of squeezing the French in, actually, from two sides there. If this army gets a move on, it can just kind of just, you know, sandwich the French in where they are. And if you get sandwiched in NTW3, it's only a matter of time till you start to mass route. Once one unit goes, you all start to go. Constant fire there from the Austrians. I mean, their units are so big, and then they just keep on firing. Their units are relatively decent at shooting, some of them. And even if they're not just big old units, so when they just start firing randomly, it just looks like there's a constant blaze coming from their units. Great volleys there from the provisional infantry, doing what damage they can. These Grenzers here, that they'll outshoot them, I'm sure. They are light infantry. Well, combat and losing slightly in most places there, I'd say. As you see over here, Van Damme is fully in retreat. I mean, his infantry is pretty bad. He's been using a lot of it in melee, as we've seen. He's been having to go into melee to support some of these French attacks. I wouldn't say that's Abensberg's repertoire. I feel like they're a bit more of a shooter. Going to see Land setting up here. Whether he's going to try another assault, I don't think they ever took this building either. They've been forced back from it multiple times. I think, yeah, there's Austrians in here. Yeah, we can't see them, but yeah, if we can't see any Frenchmen in there. Probably means that the gunshots coming out of it is definitely Austrians. Prepare to fire, boys! Fight for your emperor. A building has been captured though by the Imperials. Though they're putting some grenadiers into the building. It's actually, to be fair, they've got some grenadiers available. So they evidently were trying to go for a melee build. Was Abensberg? They're going to get charged here anyway by cavalry. Decent volley at the last second. That might save them actually. That does indeed save them. I don't know if Van Damme's even with the army anymore. Is he routed as well? Honestly, I think he has. Yeah, oh no, that's Lan. Yeah, Van Damme's also gone as well. Also routed. I was wondering why all these units were so low morale of Abensberg. It's because he's got no general themselves. He's not dead, just running back to Paris. Or wherever the capital of Abensberg is. Yeah, I mean, the Austrians sooner or later might be able to give it a go. Go for a melee in the side here, and they're going to do it now. So they're going to give it a go.
Your men have been routed, sir.
More men routing. Oh, yep. Got the Legere here giving in. They've seen a lot of action, those Legere. They've been in, well, just gunfights this entire game. Big Legere units been heavily leaned upon, heavily relied upon. Trillia's still very healthy though. And we've got the Cav going in. I don't know what it was going for. It's where the pathfinding just kind of got a bit broken or something. They're going after the horse artillery, I think. The horse artillery is going to run for its life, or at least the carriages are. And I mean, the infantry, I think, well, the actual crews themselves will be going soon. And that's a little bit more concerning, is that we do have a charge here. Those provisional infantry that have been dueling with the Grenzers. They're getting rear charged here by Grenadiers, and they've been taken out. Yeah, actually, they're all Grenadiers that have been involved in the melee. Really nicely done there. Well, just shooting with your skirms, being just a pain there, and then just getting rear charged by Grenadiers. And they're also just setting up artillery. So, like, those units were done for. Really were. Still meleeing around this corner here. French are, well, they were redlining, they're now greenlining. And now they're breaking. And what we got over here is a provisional infantry here. Legere as well. still a pretty big unit as well, over 100 men, or it was. Combat gem. Might hold for a little while, but maybe not when it's getting grenadiers side charging into it. That might just be the curtains there. I mean, they actually were getting frontally charged as well by grenadiers. There you go, more routing French. These grenadiers, if they want to, can probably just charge into the back of the trilliers of Poe, the Leger here. There's Lands as well still alive. They just need to push forward with these infantry here. Just keep in contact with these trilliers. The infantry here fighting the French, at least is stopping the French from shooting at the Austrians, that's for sure. We've got a general going in, Land, I think he's trying to help side charge and route that Austrian there. It's good use of the general, you know. And there you go, the trilliers of Poe, that 200-man unit. They seem like they're holding okay at the moment. They are getting double teamed by 2 different grenadier units. There you go. Land managed to help with the support of his infantry there, route that Austrian infantry. I thought he was going to go on a counter charge, but it doesn't look like he is. Here comes some of those Austrian troops that defeated the Bavarians. They're coming in behind, and they look like they're going to try and encircle the Abensberg position, which at the moment is not really being contested. They're not exactly seen as a threat by the looks of it. And then go the Uhlans. For some reason we're getting a bit of lag, but there you go. Uhlans going in. We've got something forming square. Leger, or not Leger, line infantry forming square. We've got grenadiers going into the building to try and claim it. Don't know what's in there. The cousins of the Emperor, the family of Napoleon, holding this line to the very last man. And the redlining of the Austrians are in there. The French going into melee over here as well. I guess they're just like, well, it's going to be one last melee, one last attempt to try and break the Austrian spirit here, but no cavalry to support them. It's going to be tough. There you go, they managed to rout the Austrians, and they nearly got the cavalry there as well, which would be huge. The Les Ferons, they're forming square. They don't want to stay in square. They want to keep descending onto the flank of these Austrians here, doing what damage they can. The building has been claimed there. Very well done by the French. They managed to take that with, yeah, the 21st E. I mean, the problem is the Austrians have plenty of units, plenty of grenadiers that can go in and storm that building. Part of the problem, looks like some of the Abensberg troops over here routing. Austrians are behind though, they're just going to farm them up. Austrian cavalry here as well, again in the back lines, you know, causing upset, but it is just slow but sure that the French lines here are slowly being rolled up here, and I think very shortly it's going to be GG. The French are still in the town. Got the 3rd Provisional Infantry here. They're going towards the town. But I don't think they're going to last too long. I think the Austrians are already streamlining some troops over there. And it just seems like there's so many Austrians. I mean, they did so much damage early on with a heavy cav. So the Austrians, you're like, oh yeah, this looks like it's going to be a French walk in the park. Ended up not being a French walk in the park. I think losing the Bavarians so easily and so quickly did not help the situation. But I think the French played a pretty solid game.
Your men have been routed, sir.
There you go. More Austrian infantry winning in melee fights with the Leger over here. Now it's just a big old firing line by the Austrians here, just waiting for the order to blast into this building. And another assault is going to be made on the Abensberg positions here. Like I said, if these forces here just move forward, Abensberg boys just forming up. Got their backs the wrong way though, this one at least. This one's turning and facing. Yeah, I think the French pretty much all defeated. The last ones are in this forest over here, hiding, taking shelter. "31 Grenadiers in a dream." We've got the general breaking over here. Land, the other land's gone. So you got 31 Grenadiers and what's ever already in the building, which is the 21st Line Infantry, which I can't see holding, even if it is a combat gen. Can't see him holding off against all these Austrians, or even just one Austrian unit. I think is more than enough to knock him out, especially with the general routing. What we got over here? Some more Legere joining the fight, returning. I think they're just shooting. Oh, they're shooting a square. There is a square down here as well. To be fair, yeah, shoot that. But there you go, the Battle of Abensberg. History is going to be changed here, and the French are going to lose this one. The town hall's been lost there, and yeah, it's going to be a French and German defeat, which, you know, could be catastrophic as well. This is the main army that Napoleon was sort of using. And he would have had his guard as well along here. Not that they featured here, but wherever Napoleon goes, the guard follows. And Land, one of his better generals, does die in the 1809 campaign. But yeah, with such a large chunk of the French army and their allies being defeated, it would have been devastating for the French cause and the French sort of, you know, war support, and just basically to continue the war, they would have just needed to raise so many more conscripts. Might not be easy to do. There you go, Legere, easily routed. There's another one here to go in. There you go, Abensberg troops retreating one last time. There's a Grenadier in here that's going to make the last stand, so we're just going to fast forward a little bit. And we'll see which brave soul gets the job going in to take that building from the Grenadiers. They honestly, yeah, I was going to say they might just destroy it, get it to half strength. That has actually routed the unit there. And another general's died. I don't know whose it was over there, but I imagine another land. And there you go, a defeat for the French. So yeah, a change in history, as I was saying. This was sent in by Johnny Le Buffoon, who was playing as, I think, one of the land armies. So well done to him and to his team. I mean, they put up a good fight. Certainly early game, I thought they did a lot better. It all kind of went wrong when Bavaria got killed off so easily by the Austrians, really. Just didn't, you know, delay or allow land to come over there and support him. Otherwise, could have been a very different game if Bavaria managed to keep himself in the game a bit longer, I think. Unit stats, we've got 220 kills for one of the Legere here. Grenadiers getting 171 kills. The Cousins of the Emperor getting 160 kills. Chasseurs getting 95. 93 with Legere there. And yeah, there are the rest of the kills if you want to have a look at those. Lan even getting himself a kill, very nice. But there you go, that is the Battle of Abensberg. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a bit more of a quick one today rather than one of the lot more longer ones that we often have with these historical battles. But I hope you did enjoy anyway. It's always fun to check out another 1809 Austria-France showdown. But yeah, this time Austria got the better of the Imperial French. But until next time, guys, I'll see you folks in the next one. But if you need some more NTW3 battles, do check out the videos appearing on your screen now. And don't forget to hit that sub button and notification bell. Bye for now.